Hello fellow humans, my name is Poppy and I'm sitting inside a bus made of chalk because it seems you guys want me to do this whole thing again. Now, presumably if you're watching this video, you already know what's up, but just in case you don't, here's a quick refresher. I used to live in Nairobi, and one of my favourite things about Kenyan life was spotting all the zany, personalised coaches and minibuses that made up the public transport system. They're called Matatus, and they look like this. And at night, they look like this. They're such an established part of the culture that they make their way into the local art as well. In fact, we have multiple works that feature these buses by Dennis Muraguri hanging around our house. Boasting free Wi-Fi, TV screens, and LED lights galore, these buses, depending on the time of day, are anything from chill social hubs to nightclubs on wheels. If you want to understand more about why that is, you can check out my previous two videos, where I explain the phenomenon in more detail and critique the artwork as well. But today, I'm finally going to listen to your requests and focus on the interior design instead. Forget the MOT, this will be an overall vibe check. I'm so sorry. And I'll still be rating things out of 5 tires. Also, just like last time, all the photos and videos I'll be using today are from the various Matwana culture socials, so thank you so much to them for providing the content in the first place, and also giving me that little shout out. Thank you. Right, sit down, buckle up, and get ready, because the next stop is... me about 5 seconds in the future? I thought we'd start with something a little topical. Last year we had the COVID bus, and this year it's virus/poison from Dandora Route 32. Just for some context, this is what the exterior looks like, because the interior looks like this. So right off the bat, I am very drawn to the ceiling art. So there's various toxic waste kind of biohazard symbols that say virus. Maybe I'll... oh, there's a hair floating in front of me or whatever. Sorry. Everything about this ceiling says stay away from me, which I think is quite a power move considering you want business, you want people on your bus. But I also think it's actually really visually pleasing. This whole bus has such a nice scheme going. The balance of the green and purple being two secondary colours, they just work really well. I think it's really evenly distributed. I like how each chair has a hint of purple and green. It's very cinematic lighting. We've got pretty standard seats, it's just kind of black wrap, so I feel like that could be more exciting. I've seen people have certain patterns or continue the theme to the upholstery, so a bit let down by that, but at least the side panels have got these grungy dystopian motifs going. They continue the pattern from the ceiling. You can see there's TVs, they're not on right now, but they look like quite large screens. But I will say the viewing angle isn't ideal, it's more like an atmospheric thing rather than a cinematic experience. So overall, very impressive when you first walk in, but there's not as much to engage with beyond the lighting and the virus concept. Oh, it does look so good though. It's almost like that less is more. I'm gonna say 4 tires. Next up, we're staying on Dandora Route 32 because that's also where this guy lives. And this bus is called Voicemail, and it's actually described as another one from God. Now I know I'm not here to comment on the exterior, but can I just say 10% business, 90% flossing? Absolute words to live by. Barely understand what it means, but I'm here for it. You go, girl. Now onto the actual inside. From this image it's kind of hard to make out exactly what's going on in the ceiling, but I can tell there's differently coloured sort of back panel lighting with various symbols that seem kind of powerful. And then down at the very end you've got various emojis, and they do complement the colours that are going on the ceiling. Kind of. There is blue on the ceiling and purple. Okay, they're not exactly the same actually. Now this one also has the side angled TVs, but they're all at slightly different angles, which just... with how symmetrical this design is, that's just oof. That one on the left should be leaning the same as the one on the right. And then on the chairs we've actually got some interesting designs. Every single pillow area, which is also more sanitary because it's got the plastic on it, says God first. They did say it was a very holy bus. This is what it actually looks like under all the seats, and you've got all the logos from various social media platforms. There's the old Instagram logo, Pinterest, but again, like a lot of these are like the vintage logo for things, if you can call social media vintage. I don't know. I feel like it feels more finished. It's not all about the ceiling. While I don't necessarily understand the message, I can appreciate it. I really wish it were more symmetrical, but overall, it kind of gives me the same amount of joy as the previous one, even though it feels more finished. So I'm gonna give it 4 tires again. Okay guys, you have requested this bus so many times, I think it's only fair that I finally give it to you. In all her glittery, pink, studded, loud glory, this is Nightness. And because this is a video, I have to kind of be speedy. There's lots of tiny TV monitors in the front, so that's interesting, but kind of only useful if you're really up close, but then I guess people do stand quite a bit. Now being taken around to the other front side of the bus, this is where the passengers actually sit, and there's a much larger monitor, so I see that could be for the person who's sitting immediately there, although that might be kind of close. And then on the inside of the main area, there is a huge screen at the front. That looks pretty cool. And then the back of every pair of chairs has a large monitor that spans the width of both, and there's monitors on the ceiling as well, so there's TVs anywhere you can look. There is pink detailing all over the place on the upholstery, around the screens. It's great. And we're being shown the floor, but I can't really tell what's going on. Aside from the bits under the seats, which I can tell are actual pictures, it just looks like normal bus carpet, so not that exciting for me personally. But overall, the overwhelming pinkness is great. I love that the ceiling is kind of quilted black and pink as well. And now here we've got Nightness in night mode, and it is absolutely popping off. As you can see on the ceiling, there's some text that says Nightness, but it's got the heart rate monitor pattern going as well, which is clever. I like to see it. There's floor lighting, there's crazy laser stuff going on across the seats. The music is pumping. There are stickers on the windows that I didn't notice before. It is a whole vibe. I won't play the music because copyright, but it's a party. So, based on the inside alone, ignoring the anime titties, I think I'm gonna give Nightness 4.5. I know it's being stingy, but I just think the floor could have been a bit more exciting, and even though it felt party, it could have felt more party. Does that make sense? I'm using party as an adjective. Do you like Ferraris? Well, you better, because this Bamburi Kisauni bus is all things prancing horse. And I mean all things. I know we said we're not talking about the outside, but just look at this illusion on the back end of the bus. That's all I'll say about that. Now moving on to the inside. I don't want to be mean, but this doesn't feel Ferrari sports car-y to me. I'm talking about the upholstery, by the way. It's the main thing you see in this picture. The fabric feels a bit like a hotel to me. I don't think thematically it matches the energy that we're trying to put out here. I say we like it's my bus, but that's just what I'm feeling. Maybe even if this leaf pattern were in like the Ferrari yellow or had the green and the red as well, that might have made it a bit more cohesive, but it just feels a little bit like 2 separate concepts to me. And there's also, I don't know what this is, I guess like plexiglass or something on the ceiling, but it kind of spreads fully at the front and the back, and then the Ferrari logo is just in the middle, and then there's a kind of marbly design, and it feels like all of it should have spread the whole way. And then we go to the front, to the driver's seat, and the whole dashboard is this insane neon green, which I think works a lot better for the sports car concept. Even though it clashes a tiny bit with the warm sunny yellow inside that door, it kind of, to me, has the same energy as sports car, whereas, you know, the fabric right next to it doesn't. So I'm gonna give it 3 tires. Sorry. If you're looking for something a little less classic, you might want to try visiting Ongata Rongai Route 125 and riding the Gecko. Gecko has a very apparent theme, which I think we've established by now I like. I like the buses feeling cohesive, and geckos are adorable. Now I'm going to comment on the seating arrangement first, even though it might not be the first thing that draws your eye, because I think it's dope that we've got all these solo ones. Personally, I am quite an introvert and I hate sitting right next to someone on public transport. This is also useful for COVID. It also just makes it feel different. It makes it feel a bit like an airplane or something. So I like that arrangement. And if you do have a group, you're not that far away, you can easily lean over and still talk to each other. So it's a nice change. It makes things feels a little I can talk. It makes things feel a little different. Now moving on to the ceiling, we've got another kind of cut out backlit display going on. But how adorable is that? I mean, geckos are just so cute. And it obviously says Gecko as well. It's useful to know what bus you're on. On the doorway it says faith over fear. Classic shout out to God. We've got the slanted slope TVs again. And I don't mind as much that it's not symmetrical because I don't think it's really trying to be in the same way. There also seems to be a screen, I'm guessing that's a screen at the very end, but it's got such a big like frame bezel thing going on. It's just a bit distracting. It's almost as wide as the screen itself. The whole area feels red because of the geckos on the ceiling, but then every window has this glow of green. So again, it's this nice, they are opposite ends of the colour wheel exactly, so they always look really nice together. It makes the space feel really 3D, I guess you could say. So yeah, I would give Gecko 4 tires again. I'm being pretty consistent with this 4 tires thing, but nothing has struck me as chef's kiss yet. Hopping right back on the bougie train, let's check out this private 14-seater called Louis Vuitton. The seating seems to be quite plain, but I mean it looks sleek and clean and I can't really complain. The handrails on the top of the seats are useful. It just seems like black leather, which is not that exciting to me. It's pretty standard. The screens are plentiful, and there's 5 in the front. You've got this whole grid going. It would have been cool to make it, you know, nice 6 panels, and I can see one is kind of dipped back as well. So overall, it's just not the most pleasing. It just looks a bit scattered. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it works. My eyes are telling me there should be one more down the bottom in the middle. But you know, it's cool. It's always fun having music videos on in the background, giving a visual to the sounds that you're enjoying anyway. So that is cool. Okay, so there also are some of those classic slanted screens that I'm not the hugest fan of, but again, I see the point. It's just if you want to actually watch. Then again, it has both, so I guess it's fine. And there's one plonked in the back, I guess, for people standing outside to watch. That's pretty funny actually. I imagine if you're stuck in traffic and there's a car in the queue behind you, they can watch something too, without the sound, but it's still something. I think overall it just feels a bit unfinished to me. If I were hiring this for like a private journey or party or something, I'd be like, I could get more from the public group ones, you know? So I'm gonna say 2 tires. This bus from the Githurai Route 45 is called Rio, and it takes you right to Brazil. I've only got one picture to look at and it's a throwback from 2016, but I still thought it was worth examining because it's a little bit different, it's a little bit spicy. Right away, I am overwhelmed by AstroTurf. It's on the ceiling, it's on the walls, and it looks pretty funky. It definitely has holiday vibes. But I know what AstroTurf actually feels like, and it can't really be that comfortable to rub your shoulder against. On the ceiling though, it's fine, it's definitely different. It's not the neon paneling we keep seeing. I guess that must be a more current trend because again, this is from 2016. And within that grassy patch is the big monitor, classic for the back of the bus, and it says Brazilian on it, so I guess it's a Brazilian TV. I think there's a glowing map on the side, which is fun. We love a cultured girl. And I know in the caption it says there's a fridge, so I guess the thing that looks like a table is actually a fridge, and that is sick. Especially in Kenya, it'd be so good to just crack one open from the back. I like that a lot. Very practical. Why don't more buses have fridges? I was gonna say, why don't more buses have fridge? Just one fridge for all of them. Okay. Oh! I'm embarrassed I didn't get this sooner. Rio 2016 and the Olympic symbol. We got there in the end, folks. It's okay. Now I understand the grass a bit better because so many sports have that on the floor. I like that it's immortalizing a time in history. The grass is definitely different. The fridge is, that is great. If I'm going on looks alone, it's gonna have to be 3 tyres. Now the only thing greener than that AstroTurf is the inside of the bus called Mastermind from Umoja Route 3560. And right away, it looks like a whale of a time. I know you can swing off the doors on any bus really, but this is a good opening to a video. That is how you do a back of the bus screen. I know it's been a few years since Rio, but that is massive. Also, I like the bands of green amongst the predominantly blue aura of the space. Those blue LED strips continue around the windows, and there's graffiti all around the doorway. It's got like great urban street vibes. Okay, so looking at the ceiling, there's like this crazy neon green overwhelming situation with cracks coming out of any extra additions that they've got. There's an evil panda, because why not? And then similarly to Nightness, they've got the trim in green all around the TVs and stitching and seams around the seating as well. The floor is just standard, it's like they didn't do anything to it, but overall I'm feeling like this would be a really cool one to hop on. It's also got the screen at the front and the angled ones on the sides. As always, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening and a few pops of pink just to really wow you. Yeah, it's pretty sick. I can't really articulate why. I think it just feels really well put together. So I think I'm gonna say Mastermind gets my first 5 tyres. Okay, now the caption on this one, which is Kasarani's black label by the way, says it's one of the first ever to do it big on them seats, which I'm assuming refers to those big boy screens on the back instead of the individual ones like I've drawn here. They've also got quite big green bezels, but it works, you know, if they were the first one. I love the little social area at the back with the seats facing one another. It feels more like the table part on a train. That's really cute. And the seats themselves are green and black, so continuing the visual motif throughout. The ceiling has this really cool, it's just a normal lighting strip that goes all the way down the walkway area, but it's kind of 3D protruding prism stuff. I don't know if it has a connection to the concept of Black Label or not, but it's a very impressive effect. And similarly to Mastermind, it feels a bit like someone made a collage out of things that just excite them and interest them. And there's little stick men as well doing various things, embracing one another, I think drinking drinks as well. I like how it just kind of feels like a fun time. Oh, okay, one of those things says drunk busters. So maybe the little stick men aren't drinking? Or maybe you're not busting the drunks, maybe you are a buster and also drunk? I think it's nice and it's really cool for the day, but it's not the same like, yeah, we're here for a good time energy as Mastermind. So 4.5. And now for our very last vehicle, I thought we could have something kind of funny and ironic. That being Umoja's Grand Theft Auto. But I'm sure the last thing anyone wants is for it to be stolen. Ooh, so this one is very blue. It almost looks like, yeah, I think it might actually be blacklight because those greeny neon panels seem to be glowing. The little illustration-y bits down at the bottom. The ceiling has a kind of swirly design going on. It's all just very reflective and glowy, and it feels kind of sci-fi and futuristic. So that's the Grand Theft Auto logo, and then we tilt up and see a game controller. I don't know if that's specific to Xbox, PlayStation or anything. I think it's just kind of a artistic interpretation of one or the other or all of the above. And then we've got the classic slanted screen and then another controller. So it's very much in the making. But even so, I can tell this is going to be really sick. I like that wasted graphic. The hearts are cute. And there's different shapes of controllers there as well. Some more vintage ones again. And again, vintage in terms of like 90s and 2000s, not really vintage. Although I guess that is vintage now. It's interesting how there's one orange bit of tape around the TV and then everywhere else is green. That's a bit rogue to me, but I actually don't even mind it that much. I don't know why. You know, I know it's unfinished, so I can't gauge that much, but I guess overall I'll give it 4 tires. I think that just about does it in terms of things we should look at today. There are obviously so many more buses out there, but I don't want to make this video too long. So if you have any recommendations or suggestions or requests for my future videos, because I'm sure I will make more at this point, you can leave them in the comments below, or even better, if you could DM me on Instagram with a picture or a link to the picture, video, whatever it might be, the content, the media, then that would really help me, because Google is not my friend and it's actually quite hard to find images of these buses. And with all that said, I hope you had a good time. I know I did, and if you'd like to see more videos like this and support my channel, it would be great if you could subscribe, like this video, maybe share it with some friends, comment again in any form if you can, if you want to. It would just make it a bit easier for me to continue this. Anyway, thank you and goodbye. If I'm going on looks... Whoa, did you hear my tummy? I don't know if you heard that, it really grumbled just then.